My fellow Americans, my name is Albert J. Torcaso. You can text me at 412-559-2731. I shoot this video today to speak about the United States of America. And I want you to listen. If you would, please listen. Whether you are 18 years old or one of the oldest people in America, I need to speak to you. I want you to understand that every election matters. We always hear this is the most important. Seems like we're always hearing it. The truth is, every election, whether it's what they call a primary, a caucus, or a general election, the election in November of 2024 will be one of the most important in history. Once again. Now, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, but I am going to ask you to vote. So many people over the years says, I don't vote because I don't want to pick the lesser of two evils. Friends, my fellow Americans, let us look at it from a different perspective. The better of two goods. Wherever you are in the political spectrum, so be it. But every American has a duty, not just a privilege, but an actual duty to vote. There are people that I love who've never voted. As an American, I don't like that. Yes, it is your choice. But it is because it is your choice that you must vote. You may be young and not interested. You must register to vote. Whether you are a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, or some other party, you must vote in every election. Why? Friends, our nation was founded on freedom. Men and women died throughout the last 230 some or more years. I don't have the exact number because, quite frankly, it's a little late right now when I shoot this. But people died for that right. People of color, women at one point in America could not vote. Pretty much when we first started our great nation, only Caucasian men had the legal right to vote. Now, in our great nation, the majority of over 350 million people, the majority, have the legal right to vote. And the legal right not to vote. But this is what is at stake, my friends. Over the last 30-some years, millions of Americans who had their legal right to vote have lost their rights. But let us look at history and other places on the planet. There are nations where people literally died trying to vote. There are nations where you can't vote no matter who you are. There are nations that are dictatorships and the like. I'm not here to give you a history lesson. But most of all, why do I never miss a vote? Why haven't I missed one since the age of 18? Not one. Not a primary, not a general. Why, you may ask? Al. Because I thought about the men and the women who created this great nation. Has our nation done wrong? Every nation has made mistakes. Are we perfect? No. Let us go back to the foundation in order to make a more perfect union, a more perfect nation. Is right in the beginning of our nation's, the first words that were written. We have the legal right to vote in America, a large majority of us. And yet and still, millions choose not to vote. Why is it important? Well, for one thing, everything in your life is affected by voting. Now, you may laugh and say, no, it's not. Oh, but it is. Every law that is in the United States, no matter if you live in the smallest one post office town to the largest city in the United States, every law, every ordinance, every law that is adjudicated by judges, those people in office are elected or appointed, and therefore every law, everything, every regulation is because of voting. What we're allowed to eat, what we're not allowed to eat. Now, you may not think of it that way, and that's perfectly fine. At one time, our nation lived on what they called the gold standard. Our money was considered more valuable. Over the years, both political parties, for whatever the reasoning behind it, changed things, and we have suffered for it. We have one of the best nations in the history of this planet, in the history of humanity. So I implore you to register to vote. The minute you hear this, the very next day, go and register and vote. If you are a woman, go and vote. A man of any pigmentation, a woman of any pigmentation, of any age, of any political ideology, I don't care. Now let me share something with you. I was recently in the hospital. I was bedridden. I was in an extraordinary amount of discomfort. And I had a roommate named Jim. And this man, I care about him as if he was a family member. But I bring it up to tell you that in terms of our political beliefs, I suspect we may be a wee bit disagreeable on certain matters. I don't care. Jim is my friend. You mean something to me. But if you love your freedom to do what you do now, if you want your freedom to have social media, to do what you do, you better get out there and vote. If you care about your finances, you better get out there and vote. You may think this is just a guy that's 60 years old trying to tell us youngsters what to do, or us older adults what to do. You're right, I am. For your own good and mine. This is our nation. This is our freedom. This is our right. But more importantly, you know what really is my main reason? I think of George Washington and all the founding fathers and mothers. I think of those men who fought in every war and women who served. Every war. I think of the men and women serving right now in harm's way to keep freedom in America and having freedom ring. So yeah, is it a risk for me to bring out my political arm, if you will? Could I risk losing friends? Ladies and gentlemen, there are things that are more important and saving our freedom from anyone, from any political party, left, right, or out of sight. Any man or woman that would try to take away our freedoms instead of bringing about more freedom. Those who would take it away deserve to be thrown out of office. Not literally, but voted out. Those who would fight for every man and every woman and every child's freedom have the right to get that job. But make no mistake, whether they are Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we shall not vote them in and then stop paying attention. When they do wrong, we shall text them. When they do wrong, we shall write them. When they do wrong, we shall call the United States Congress switch line. And we shall let our senators and our representatives know that they are the employees of the American people. And while they are also citizens and thereby owners, they serve the United States citizen, not special interests of any kind, not corporations, not other situations. They are the employees of you and me. And if I get a little impassioned, well, let me tell you, my friends, you may be a Democrat, you may be a Republican, or anything and everything in between. But here's some breaking news. Every time our government was shut down and millions of Americans lost their jobs or were laid off, the citizens, the owners of this great nation were laid off. But yet every man and woman in Congress, every Democrat, every independent, and every Republican, the employees kept getting paid. That's right, my friends, your senators, your presidents or president, and your House of Representatives. When the government shut down, they kept getting their money. And just as a little sidebar, did you know that every senator and representative makes at least $174,500 a year? And they have many health care options. And one of them costs them $503 a year. The rest of it, 75%, is subsidized by your taxes. And it's government run by the United States Navy. For those who are researchers, look it up. The Office of the Attending Physician. Oh, and just one more thing, like the old TV show Columbo with Peter Falk. Just one more thing. Did you know that they don't pay co-pays? They don't pay co-insurance. And they have on-site doctors right there in Congress. And by the way, you know, that means every senator and every Republican and every Democrat and House of Representatives and president of either party They have government paid for, government run health care. Yeah, this is a long video. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel that when our government gets shut down, you or your family member may lose their job or get laid off, but members of Congress and or the president keep their money? How does it feel to know that the owners of this nation lose a paycheck, but the employees keep theirs? Now, I don't know about you, but I never heard of that ever happening in any other business. So yeah, you don't think voting's important? If you do not vote, we can lose all of our freedoms. Oh, and one social media related piece of news to all of my influencers out there. TikTok may be gone forever. The United States Congress, bipartisan, has made that decision. So if I were you, whatever your age is, whatever your situation is, get out there, get registered, and vote. If you don't do it for me, if you don't do it for you, do it for our heroes, the veterans that lived and died, including George Washington. And do it for our military men and women that are serving now. Do it for our heroes. Just do it. My name is Albert Torcaso, and I love America, and I love my freedom. I love my freedom. Questions? Comments? 412-559-2731. Let's not just celebrate Independence Day or Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Let us celebrate by ensuring freedom for all Americans. And let us make it right, because you matter. I matter, and you matter. Get out there and vote. And may God bless this great nation, the United States of America.